The Bahamas National Youth Choir has traveled the world, spreading the culture of the Bahamas through song and dance. Each Saturday at 4:30 p.m., relive the excitement of the last 10 years of summer tours of these amazing cultural ambassadors. Join in the fun Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. right here on the ZNS Network.
Coming up in the morning edition.
Laymen should not think of this pandemic as a short-term diversion in our lives.
Prepare for more lockdowns as emergency order will be extended. The Minister of Public Works testing positive for COVID-19 and...
We encourage all persons, if you feel that you were exposed or you feel unsafe, you don't feel good, go and get tested.
The Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence speaks out on the recent rush out. The details of those stories and more when the morning edition comes. Right back.
Explore the world of agriculture with us. Join me, your host, Carla Palmer, for continued adventures in agriculture and the marine environment as we head into Season 2 of the program, Agriculture Now. That's Agriculture Now, moving to a new date and time, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 9 a.m., right here on the ZNS Television Network.
With today's fast-paced life, living in a healthy lifestyle and getting close to nature can be a luxury. Ancient Chinese Secret brings to you Reuse Slim and Benefit Slimming Tea. Both products are created by a combination of traditional culture and modern technology with Chinese natural herbal ingredients. Detox your body, burn the fat, and take a bath for your intestines today. Remember, Reuse Slim and Benefit Slimming Tea. Most recognized and trusted in herbal weight loss worldwide. Call 557-1369 for more information.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Magistrates Court, Canoe, and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
The COVID-19 state of emergency to be extended. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. As the nation continues to see a rise in COVID-19 cases, a resolution to extend the current emergency order was tabled in the House and will be debated at the next sitting of the House. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, shared the government's intent to extend the state of emergency until November 30th. This as the country continues to see a surge in COVID-19 cases. The Prime Minister advised Bahamians and residents not to let their guard down as the COVID-19 environment will remain for some time. Figures continue to climb well above 5,000. It was revealed overnight that all cabinet ministers are now in quarantine after Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, tested positive for COVID-19. Minister Bannister is currently in self-quarantine. As a precautionary measure, all cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister and staff who came into direct contact with the minister, will self-quarantine. The Prime Minister and cabinet ministers will work from home and continue to be fully engaged in the ministries for the duration of the quarantine period. Earlier in the House yesterday, the Prime Minister tabled a summary report on the Economic Recovery Committee, noting a number of recommendations for the way forward for the economic future of this country. Here's Jamila Mizik.
The nation's leader, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, tabling a summary report of the Economic Recovery Committee in the House of Assembly Wednesday morning. He says the committee was to make specific policy recommendations for the short and medium term, which could help with ongoing economic recovery. The Prime Minister noting some of the policy directions the government will pursue.
The committee has proposed a broad range of reforms and recommendations. They are intended to seed new industries and economic opportunities, or to expand existing ones, to make the Bahamas more attractive for domestic and international investment, and to make certain bureaucratic systems more efficient and less burdensome for citizens and businesses. Again, not all of the recommendations will be pursued.
The Prime Minister also acknowledging the pandemic's damaging effect on the economy.
The pandemic, Mr. Speaker, is not close to ending. We will still be in it well into next year. Bahamians should not think of this pandemic as a short-term diversion in our lives that, when over, will quickly lead to the resumption of how we once lived. A different world will emerge on the other side of this crisis. Even international businesses that were staples may be no more.
Dr. Minnis noting that the country must attract more investment, both domestic and international, be willing to innovate with existing industries to open up to new opportunities and markets, including tourism, and be open to reform and change.
My government will provide $250 million to Bahamian businesses over 5 years. That $1 million, Mr. Speaker, that is $50 million per year over the next 5 years. This year alone, as a result of the pandemic, we are providing $55 million to small business.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
The Prime Minister also updating the House on investment projects that are still on track and will help in the economic recovery. Among those developments is the Nassau Cruise Port for the redevelopment of the Prince George Wharf and surrounding areas. According to the Prime Minister, work is ongoing and the demolition of the Customs Warehouse has taken place, but the demolition of Festival Place is imminent. He said a new world-class cruise port will be built so that the Bahamas will remain a destination of choice for cruise lines. The Prime Minister also made a major announcement in the House of Assembly on the legalization of marijuana that is likely to impact the lives of Bahamians in months ahead. Here's Vern Carey.
Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hewitt Minnis, announcing in the House of Assembly Wednesday the government's intention to decriminalize marijuana in the country. The move comes following recommendations from the Marijuana Commission and the Economic Recovery Committee, and at a time when the world's view has changed about marijuana use.
The government will begin next year the expunging of records of those convicted for the possession of small amounts of marijuana. The Economic Recovery Committee, ERC, has recommended the full legalization of marijuana for medicinal, religious, and recreational purposes, coupled with an appropriate but nimble regulatory regime that oversees the production and manufacturing, sale, consumption, and export of marijuana.
The Prime Minister also indicated that the country's outdated cannabis laws will be changed, and a review is underway into the possible legalization of the multi-billion-dollar hemp industry.
We will report back to the nation following greater public consultation. A hemp industry, Mr. Speaker, would include variations of cannabis low in THC. Bahamian-owned or majority Bahamian-owned companies must and will lead to any new hemp industry in the Bahamas.
Hemp is used in multiple projects globally, with the Prime Minister highlighting potential opportunities for Bahamians in the non-traditional industry.
Legislation exists to provide the sovereign wealth funds. In keeping with the recommendation of the Economic Recovery Committee, We will review the legislation to determine what amendments might be required to allow the Bahamian people to take advantage of this and how a national sovereign wealth fund may be constituted.
The Economic Committee's report will be available online at opm.gov.bs. Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
We'll expect to hear more about the current climate regarding the country's financial services, trade and industry, as well as immigration. The minister responsible for the areas, the Honorable Ellswood Johnson, is set to present the minister's report this evening. That report is expected at 5 o'clock and will be carried live right here on the ZNS television and radio network.
Well, moderate traffic in the area of Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway and Bahama Games Boulevard. Coming up in your complete traffic report, a look at overnight traffic as well as tips for motorists in utilizing roads battered by rain over the past few days.
We, the body of the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists, or BAMAT, offer this pronouncement because our celebratory activities were suspended. We wish to say thank you to all essential healthcare workers, police and defense force officers, and to encourage the youth of this nation to seek out fields in the medical laboratory profession, and to let you know that this is a viable option for a successful and rewarding career. Scholarships are available through the Ministries of Health and Education to help you reach your goals. This announcement is brought to you by the Bahamas Association of Medical Technologists in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
We play just like your kids. We text just like your kids. We learn. We even cook. We take selfies. We have hobbies. And we love sports. In every way, we are just like everyone else and enjoy the same things and live our lives every day, just like you do. So if you happen to meet us, treat us just like everyone else. Because at the end of the day, we're just like you. Living life with Down syndrome is simply living. To learn more about Down syndrome, call 727-2105. This message is brought to you by the Grand Bahama Down Syndrome Society.
During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Restaurants may operate utilizing curbside pickup, drive-through, takeaway, or delivery. Any establishment who allows the entry of any person not wearing a mask is liable upon a summary conviction to a fine of $500. I am Ambassador Ashanti Ruko of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the
Meantime, our Lloyd Allen in the Morning Edition traffic team is standing by with your Thursday's traffic commute. Good morning, Lloyd.
All right, good morning, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a great start to your Thursday morning. As we said earlier, we're here at the intersection of Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway and Bahama Games Boulevard. Traffic is at a moderate level already this morning, and it will continue for the next few hours. Also this morning, we are joined by Corporal Patrick Camp from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving you an initial look at overnight traffic.
Good morning, Mr. Lloyd, and good morning, Bahamas. Within the last 24 hours or so, we've had some 6 to 7 accidents. In fact, we just had one just moments ago reported in the Andres Avenue area. So I'm going to ask persons to be mindful and careful as you traverse in that area. There's an investigation going on at this time.
Now, Officer Camp, over the past few days, there's been significant rain throughout the island and the country. Some drivers challenged, of course, with those conditions. Wet roads causes a lot of slipping of vehicles and your car not functioning as it normally does. Any advice for motorists?
You're absolutely correct. The streets have been excessively wet due to the inclement weather over the past couple of days. Accidents will happen. That's why there are accidents. But a lot of accidents can and could be avoided at times. It's due to persons who are driving without due care and attention. And we still have persons, and it disturbs me that we still have a lot of road users who insist on being tyrants on the streets. They're not obeying simple street laws, and that could be safe for them and other road users. Also, if you find that your vehicle is disabled during the hazardous conditions or not, your hazard lights should be used to indicate to persons that there is something that's going on here. It causes persons to pay attention to what's going on and to avoid another collision. We don't advise that you use your hazard lights while you are driving. It can give a wrong signal and cause a bit of a problem. And when it concerns using your bright lights, it can be used. You just have to use good judgment as to how and when you decide to.
Well, some good information there, of course, throughout the island of New Providence. Road projects continue on the island, so of course we want to advise drivers to be cautious as you make your way to your various destinations. That's been a complete look at your morning traffic report from this intersection of Tonic Williams Darling Highway and Bahama Games Boulevard. For the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Well, system overload is said to be the primary reason for the delayed start to the Ministry of Education's virtual learning platform. In his detailed explanation to Parliament, Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeffrey Lloyd, reasoned that the use of the virtual platform had increased by 600 students in September last year to now some 60,000 nationwide as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
While attempting to access the ministry's virtual learning portal on that first day, many were unable to do so. The LMS system had previously, up to that point, been load tested and retested to meet the access demand of the 60,000 students that we are expected to access the system over a 60-minute time period. However, what in fact happened was that within a 10-minute period on Tuesday the 13th, between 8:39 a.m. and 8:49 a.m., some 22,000 users, educators and students hit the access button, overloading the system, resulting in the system's defense mechanism being activated and therefore shutting down.
Minister Lloyd says the problem was rectified within hours. However, his education team resorted to Plan B.
Within hours, the system was restored. But by that time, most of the students and the teachers had moved to an alternative learning platform, such as Zoom or Edmodo or Microsoft Teams, to continue their instructions. The ministry commends our teachers and students for this. By Tuesday evening on October 13th, the system was pretty much fully operational. The ministry decided to shut the system down, expand its capability through Tuesday evening and night, so that it could meet the expected demand of the 60,000 users within whatever time period, 10 minutes or even less. This was done.
North Eleuthera MP Ricky Mackey addressing the number of COVID cases over in North Eleuthera. He encouraged residents not to panic but to adhere to all of the health and safety protocols.
individual who tested positive for COVID-19 does not reside in Harbor Island, but is really associated with someone that does. I have been advised that at this current time, there are no active cases of COVID-19 on Harbor Island. As you can imagine, the announcement has caused some serious concerns, seeing that Harbor Island is one of the Bahamas' leading tourist destinations. The continuous success of this thriving tourist destination is based on our ability to market it as a safe destination. Therefore, it is incumbent upon us that we follow the protocols that have been established by the health professionals, the washing of hands, the wearing of masks, social distancing, in order that we and our guests will continue to remain safe.
Now, with the countdown on to the reopening of the country, Mackey also addressed the new travel protocols.
With the new protocols, all those persons traveling with a negative COVID test would still, on arrival, be required to take a rapid COVID test at the arriving airport. What this would then do, it would free those individuals up. Because of the makeup of the North Eleuthera constituency, we anticipate establishing two significant checkpoints, one on Three Island Dock, where visitors commute to Harbor Island, and one on James Bay Dock, where visitors commute to Spanish Wells.
Authorities continue a probe into the dumping of oil in what appears to be an environmental hazard in the eastern part of Grand Bahama. It's a cause for concern, according to a resident of East Grand Bahama. The issue was also addressed in Parliament. Here's Ramiko Knowles.
The person or persons that are responsible for the abuse of the environment in Grand Bahama this morning, who would have dumped oil on the side of the road in East Grand Bahama. We don't know yet, Mr. Speaker, who is responsible, but I would like to update the Grand Bahamian community who have expressed concern this morning that the police have located the site of that dumping.
The discovery was made by a resident who recorded the dump site on his cell phone, and the images went viral. James Turner, a resident of the Eastern community, thanking the person for filming the illegal dumping. He says he cannot believe someone would be so irresponsible.
This is ridiculous. It is unconscionable that we as intelligent Bahamians would just drop oil and create a mess on the side of the road. Now, we could see from the video that this is commercial grade material. This is not something that came from somebody's gas station or some mechanic shop. This is so many gallons, it has to have come from a commercial entity.
Turner is appealing to any one of the commercial entities recently contracting someone or a business to dispose of oil to come forward and tell the authorities who did it so they can be held accountable.
I'm a Grand Bahamian and I love Grand Bahamians. Now, there are vagrants in every society, but there are very few vagrants in this Grand Bahama society. So I believe that maybe somebody made a mistake. Maybe the truck broke down, something happened that should not have happened, and they decided to discard that stuff to the side of the street for just a short while. Unfortunately, you cannot leave it there like that. The bags have already burst. Can you imagine if my daughter, your wife was driving at night, hit that oil, what happens? Are they going to go to the Rand Memorial Hospital? Don't these people already know we have a health crisis here?
Turner says this type of behavior is irresponsible, and he is offering a reward for anyone that may know who is responsible.
We're putting up $500, a starting point today, to say to any Grand Bahamian, if you know who has placed this oil to the side of the road near Barbary Beach and going up East End, you tell the police or you call somebody at JAGS International, 351-5244. Tell us who did it, and we will reward you with $500.
The Deputy Prime Minister thanking sanitation services for their rapid response, adding that the matter is being aggressively investigated by police. He says those responsible will be identified and held accountable. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Traditions are the foundation of a community. In this next Royal Bahamas Defense Force feature, we speak with a Marine who hails from a line of law enforcement and educators. Here's Lloyd Allen.
How you present yourself is the best way someone can learn who you are.
Able Seaman Henry Martin says his experience growing up on Grand Bahama was filled with family time, a big deal, which also gave him a chance to begin thinking about life and the person he wanted to become.
My early childhood education was under Mary Starbussy Primary School, and then I later went on to Sunland Baptist Academy, where I graduated with honors. To speak about my mother, she was always beating education into me that you can't do anything without education. Education is key. Now she is a teacher also at Mary Star. They just went back to school. Also, my father, he's a police officer. He's taught me so much things and how to take pride in things that I do, how never to give up.
It's nearing the 10-year mark since you've been on the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and you've been through a number of departments. Would you say where you're at is home?
Now I am on HMBS Nassau, where I'm currently a diver and an armorer, and I would say I consider it home.
Talk about your daily duties on the ship that you're attached to.
Well, my daily duties consist of me dealing with armory duties, where I deal with all the weapons and ammunition for our ship, and also day-to-day I deal with dive operations that I would undergo for the ship, dealing with underneath, making sure everything is operational.
Martin also added that his role in the armory is an important one, a job he does not take lightly.
You really need to have a level head when you're dealing with weapons because it's very dangerous, and you have to be able to know what is happening around you and with you yourself to be able to handle these weapons, because you're going to be around a lot of persons, and sometimes you encounter problems when you're out to sea, especially dealing with wardens and stuff like that. So you have to be able to have that calm head and that mindset to be able to handle those things.
Conducting a high-risk job in more ways than one, precautions for him remains the order of the day, as his concerns are centered on keeping his son and wife safe.
Being a husband is the support system, and I have a lovely wife at my side who, if I have problems, I have someone I can always talk to and vent to. Someone who's there loving me and support me when I have decisions that I want to make. I go there and I can ask for advice. For having a little boy, that's my whole world.
He says joining the Defense Force has made him into a new person, a transformation into a new mindset and way of life.
Everybody is made, it was born to make mistakes. And that's the only way you'll learn and get better, make yourself better in the world.
Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Testing for COVID-19 continues for participants of that Junkanoo rush out for Dr. Philip Slimy Thompson that took place earlier this month. We got this update from Chairman of the JCMP, Dion Miller.
I'm also a member of that group as well, and I also told persons that it was not a good idea to perhaps do that kind of exercise due to the COVID pandemic. Nevertheless, the members of the group still made the decision that they went and they rushed. We have sent out communication to those groups that, hey, if they feel bad, they feel any particular way to go and get themselves tested to protect themselves and their families, I can confirm that the Saxons itself, because of that event, has not had any particular member tested positive for the COVID virus at this time. Nevertheless, we encourage all persons, if you feel like you were exposed or you feel unsafe, you don't feel good, go and get tested.
Stay close, we've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Self-isolation means taking simple steps to avoid close contact with other people as much as possible, as you would with the seasonal flu. If you've been in close contact with somebody confirmed with COVID-19 or suspect that you have it, self-isolate for 14 days. You can self-isolate by staying indoors and away from family for 14 days. Choose a well-ventilated room with a closed door. Household members should stay in a different room, or if that is not possible, maintain a distance of at least 3 feet.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
for us this morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day.